Welcome into week 6 of the Stateline Sports Reporters podcast, college football catch-up. I've been told we're on week 6. That seems unfathomable to me, but apparently we are already 6 weeks in.
And if you want to count week 0 too, I guess it's like 7 weeks of college football.
My, oh my. We're just
Yeah,
stacking them up.
Yeah, I'm racking it.
All right, well, let's get right into this one. We have a big local matchup here, the Rail Rivalry. Rivalry really tricky for me, but you can just disregard that. Yeah. Rail Rivalry, Chattanooga at ETSU, 3:30 kick. How about it?
I'm actually, you get to go to that one tomorrow.
I do get to go to that one tomorrow.
I was hoping I was going to go. Unfortunately, I got to go home for something, so I'm going to miss out on this. This is going to be fun. I mean, the Bucks haven't beaten Chattanooga since 2018, so they have all that out for them. I mean, they didn't play in the 2020 season, so it's been 4 straight for Chat, but this is an ETSU team that's playing really good football right now, so I think it's going to be a buzzing stadium. I think we're going to get a pretty good crowd, probably similar to what you saw at NDSU, and it's a big one. I mean, Chat hasn't started the year well, so this could be an opportunity for the Bucks to hop on them, get that win. Yeah.
They definitely have some revenge to get after last year, 34-3. That's just really atrocious. Like you said, Chattanooga 1-3. I got to see Chattanooga a little bit earlier this season, actually, game 1 against Tennessee. Hard to gauge a team against Tennessee.
Yeah, no.
I mean, they obviously didn't look great there, but no one's really going to look great when you take FCS versus FBS and, number 4 FBS at that. So, I mean, it'll be interesting. I will say, ETSU got to talk to some of the players this week. They already have 3 wins this season. That's the most that they've hit in the past 2 seasons. And so I think the opportunity to get number 4 and finally – start crawling towards, setting those goals higher and higher. I think that's really exciting for both the players and the whole coaching staff there.
Yeah, it really is. And I think this is one of those, last week obviously was, through all the devastation and everything, it was Trey Lamb's first SoCon win, but it was the Citadel, a team who didn't win a game last year. So I think this is really that first, real big one outside of NDSU, obviously, which no one expected the Bucks to almost win that game. So this is the real first, big Trey Lamb SoCon game. What are we going to see from the Bucks? And it's tough to tell. Like you said, you can't gauge Chat playing at Tennessee, but they have 2 of their losses. They played some pretty good teams, though, above competition. So that's why that 1-3 record, I don't think really is Chattanooga. So it's going to be a tough game. I don't know. That's what makes it tough for me to decide. I don't know what we're going to see on Saturday.
Yeah. I think it'll definitely be tough. It's tough to gauge what you're actually going to see from Chattanooga. I feel like you've kind of come accustomed to what you're going to get from ETSU. They've played pretty consistently all year round. Talking about the bigger picture here, both teams are actually coming together. This is a rivalry game, but both teams are coming together to provide support and collect donations for Hurricane Helene relief. I think that's truly a great thing and really shows that college football is more than just, stepping out onto the field and playing the game.
Yeah, 2 rivals coming together. I think this impacted a lot of people, obviously throughout the region, but several people on both of these football teams too. So I think it hits close to home. So I think it's a very good thing. And obviously you got to go earlier this week and talk to Coach Lamb and a couple of the quarterbacks about the impact it's having. So,
Yeah, I think everyone's really looking forward to being able to give back as much as they can during this time. That's for sure. All right, we're going to move on. We're going to go opposite coast, Virginia Tech at Stanford. I think we need to start this one off talking about the end of last Friday's game, because I certainly sat in shock for a while. Yeah. My dad went to Virginia Tech. Grew up, we had a Virginia Tech room in our house dedicated to Virginia Tech football, essentially. He was unwul for days.
For days. Is
for
he
days.
Just getting recovering now?
He called me the next morning. He goes, I woke up mad. I was like, I get it. Because whether it was a catch or not, I don't know. Right. But once you call it one thing, I don't know how you go back and say, no, actually, there's indisputable evidence. Questionable.
Yeah. As an outside party, not really tied to either side here, I was shocked And I think what it comes down to is the refs made a massive, massive mistake by calling it a touchdown on the field. I think if you don't do that, that eliminates
Oh,
all
yeah.
of this hectic
Oh, yeah.
stuff and the frustration and confusion coming from Virginia Tech. Because
If you
looking at it live, I was like, that's incomplete. Nobody has the football.
Yeah. And then they call it a touchdown. And everyone's
And that's
like, oh, my
when
God.
it gets shaky. So,
Yeah.
and that's where you rip it out because then in their defense and what Brent Pry said this week in his press conference after forcing the ACC basically to call him, he called it a solicited call after trying to reach out to them all weekend long. And he finally just asking, getting a reason why that was overturned. And he said it was still confusing, and another word he used is how he took it, and it was just
I don't know.
I think they made a mistake by calling it a touchdown on the field that made it that way. And he said, if it's incomplete on the field, I don't see how you overturn it. Complete, you don't overturn it.
Yeah.
There's no indisputable evidence. They messed up. That's it.
Yeah.
If you're asking me when I'm watching the game, that's an incomplete pass no matter what. But if you call it a touchdown on the field, you can't overturn it.
That was my thoughts as well.
Frustrating on all sides.
But they were that close to a win over number 7 Miami,
Right.
which says a lot about the Hokies. Finally started to get things rolling a little bit earlier. Wasn't great. It certainly wasn't a super clean game. But I saw something, and it does make sense. The Hokies are 3 scores away from being 5-0, and they're 2-3.
Yeah, that hurts.
It really does. They've had some really tough endings to these games.
Yeah.
Rutgers, Vanderbilt, and now Miami. And it's like, when are we gonna? Those 1-score games you have to get the upper hand in that. And
right.
Brent Pry is not. They have not done well with Brent Pry in 1-score games at all.
No. I think there was what was the stat? They said it at the game.
I think he's 1 in 10 now. I think he was 1 in 9 before Miami, and I think he's 1 in 10 now, which
1
is
in 10 in
really not where you need to be in 1-score games.
Yeah, that's tough.
All right, but new week, everyone's got to put behind them. Stanford 2-2. They're also coming off of a loss. They took a nice little beat down in Tigertown, Clemson, South Carolina. So it'll be interesting. This is Virginia Tech's first regular season game played on the West Coast. So that may, play a part in some of it. That's a whole nother preparation you got to take into account, the time difference and everything that goes into that. So
yeah, I mean, they had to leave on Thursday, so they're already there. So it definitely affects it because that gives them a much shorter week on their home practice facility. So that's a change. And when you're coming off, now with 3 losses early in the season, I mean, the pressure starts to build a little bit. Not only like, man, we probably aren't winning the ACC, but if we don't pick it up, we're not making a bowl game.
And that's the biggest thing for Virginia Tech. They need to get back on track, make sure that they can secure a bowl game. A big part of that is going to continue to be their run game with Bashal Tutin. Mm-hmm. Now, this is a tricky test for him. Because the Cardinals' defensive line is one of the top in the ACC in rush defense. So this could definitely cause some issues for their run game. They need to get that going to get anything going. So it'll be interesting. And not even on the run game, if we want to touch on special teams, Virginia Tech needs to clean that up. Virginia Tech, Beamer Ball is known for playing well on special teams, and they have not done that. They've made errors in every single game so far.
Yeah. When you don't have a solid special teams, I think I've noticed this throughout the years in both college and the NFL. NFL, I think, is very important as well. If you don't have a solid special teams, you're in trouble. You need to have that kind of flush with whether it be your offense or defensive efficiency, whichever side of the ball you're more strong with. If you have a special teams that kind of elevates either side of the ball, because if you have good special teams, it can help your defense or your offense. So if you don't have that, it just puts more pressure on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. And I think that's a good point you've made, and it could be why their offense has definitely struggled in the first half this year. So I think, yeah. Exactly
it's just like, it's the little things. Like, if you're not doing the little things right, you're not going to do anything. No. I mean, to have this, yes, last week, it didn't get called, But on that 58-yard field goal, that was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They had two of the same number on the field. They had the same thing happen in game one. How do you have that happen twice? Like,
Yeah,
it's just the little things. You need to put these things together.
Mm-hmm.
But, who knows? Who knows? Stanford, there's slight question mark at quarterback for Stanford. That may help the Hokies out a little bit.
Right.
He went out with an ankle injury against Clemson last week. So this one definitely could be an interesting game right here.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. Stanford just beat Syracuse. So
I did know that.
that was stupid. That was a good game. But the fact that Stanford's able to pull that off on the road, that kind of game, I think it's going to be a tough one for Virginia Tech.
Oh, yeah.
Because, going into this year, I thought the Virginia Tech Syracuse game was going to be pretty good this year. So, kind of evenly
even
stacked
Clemson
teams, so.
struggles in Syracuse. So,
right.
Anyone struggles up there.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on from the ACC on to the SEC now. Tennessee at Arkansas. The Vols are back on the field this week. They bumped up in the rankings on their week off. How about it?
Yeah, up to number 4. That's crazy. But
Is it crazy?
Not really, because the way they've played through 4 weeks, they could beat anyone in this country.
Except maybe Alabama. That'll be a big question.
They'll be in town in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, they will.
That'll
be tough, though.
Well, we'll get there when we get there. Yeah, I don't know. Tennessee at Arkansas.
This has been Arkansas has been a little thorn in the Vols' side, though, when you're looking back. Right. Tennessee's lost the last 3 meetings with Arkansas and the last 3 in Fayetteville, tracking back to 2006. They have not done well.
Yeah, not an easy place to play by any means. And I think this Arkansas team, I saw them play a little bit a couple weeks back. I think it was Oklahoma State.
Yeah,
they went up 21-0 or something. They went up and then blew it
in double overtime.
Yeah, so I saw them early first half. I was like, man, this could be a tough team in the SEC. Still could be, but it dropped a couple of games. I don't know. I think if with Tennessee off a fresh week, fresh legs, the way their defense has been playing, I think they'll swallow the Razorbacks up a little bit here. This could be another blowout.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. I think that is the expectation for this group. Mm-hmm. Although, every week Heupel reminds us, it's the SEC. Anything can happen in the SEC. It's all about the little things in the SEC. You start doing things the slightest bit wrong, someone's going to jump on that, pounce on that. Mm-hmm. And truly, it's teams like this and like the weird teams where they're like iffy, where it's like they could cause an issue one week. You're not going to be on the ball every single week. Every team struggles at some point. And so you're just hoping coming off of a bye week that you can fly right back into the swing of things. Like you touched on, defense, actually number 1 total defense in the country right now, ranked. So they've got that standard that they're playing up to. They got the big win over Oklahoma in their last time out. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here.
Yeah, I'm just hoping for my personal cause that they stay unbeaten through that when Alabama comes to town.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for.
You want the big showdown? You want the goalpost coming down and thrown into the river again?
I don't want that. I don't have to clean it up though. So
fair enough.
But that'll be crazy. So if they can just stay, even if they aren't, it's going to be wild. But that would just be. At that point, if someone loses, it could be 1-2, 1-3. I don't know. 2-3.
Yeah. The SEC, it's going to be a battle to get those playoff spots secured in the SEC. It's a tough schedule that Tennessee has to play. Yeah. Georgia already has a loss. They're getting into the thick of things here, and it's kind of win or you're going to lose your shot pretty quick.
That's true.
We'll
down
see.
To it.
Speaking of some other SEC big names, we've got another ranked matchup, Mizzou A&M.
Yeah.
This could be interesting.
Yeah. I was thinking about this game last night, actually. Because I don't know. I haven't seen enough of Missouri to really get a gauge on if they are truly the number 9 team in the country.
Yeah.
I feel they might be a little. That's why I'm kind of leaning Texas A&M in this game because they're, for one, at home at College Station. Two, I don't really know if Missouri's really the number 9 team in the country. So I think they're a good team, and it's going to be a big test for the rest of the SEC down the stretch. But this might be that game. They drop one here and go to 4-1, and A&M gets one back. That's kind of my thought on this one.
Yeah. I went back and forth. I will say I picked Mizzou in our little poll that we did. And then I went to do some research for the podcast and saw who their biggest wins were. And I was like, they're 9? I was questioning the ranking
I flipped it last
too.
second. I started with Mizzou with a 3-point win, and then I flipped.
Because I was like, their big wins are over Boston College and Vanderbilt. And like Boston College had a great start to their season, but it's Boston College and Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
It's like those aren't, and I mean, like A&M hasn't really done much. I mean, They lost to Notre Dame, but that was a close game. Right. They beat Arkansas. They beat Florida. Florida's been terrible.
Right.
So that's not something to hang your hat on.
Mm-hmm. It's tough. This should be a good game. I think we just hope for a good one.
Yeah, I think we do. I think there's also a lot of question marks for the Aggies because quarterback, they've been starting a freshman for the past 3 weeks. He's won all 3 games. But their old QB, Connor Weigman, game time decision this week. So that could also play a factor in how this one falls. So we'll see. They're both pretty strong defenses. So
yeah,
this one really.
Maybe get a low scoring one.
Maybe we will.
Defensive.
I feel like that's not really what you expect out of the SEC, though. I don't know.
Not anymore.
No.
Used to be.
Not anymore.
No. It's an offensive league.
Pretty much
just
all
like
around.
The NFL.
Yeah.
All right. Do your picks. Let's hear them.
Yup. We're going to move into our Lauren's Lock segment. As always, very questionable on how well we're going to do. We'll say I did hit on the Alabama.
Don't downgrade yourself.
I hit on the Alabama one last week, and I was real close to my lofty bet of Virginia Tech money line.
Yeah.
Super close. That was
close.
That was tough. All right. We're going to start off Chattanooga ETSU. How about this? We actually have a line for ETSU this week. Chattanooga 1.5 point favorites. What about it?
ETSU plus 1.5.
100%.
Take the money line.
Yeah. I think ETSU's got this one.
1.5, especially in a SoCon game. I don't think you're seeing a 1-point game unless someone misses an extra point. Take the money line on the Bucks.
I'm taking money line on the Bucks too. I'm right there with you. We're riding together there. All right, Virginia Tech at Stanford. Hokies open 6.5 point favorites, jumped to 8.5 point favorites as of today.
They played well enough last week for me to have some confidence. They got to get a win here. They got to do it on the road. Show me something, Hokies. Yeah, we'll go with the. That's such a big line, though. I look at it. It feels 6.5, absolutely. 8.5 is scary. 8.5 is a 2-score game. I'll still do it.
You know, Virginia Tech hasn't covered in any of their wins. They've struggled to cover. They did cover last week against Miami, obviously. I think they did cover in the one win.
Barely.
So you picked them to cover or no?
I'm just doing it. They gotta have some kind of like resurrection from that.
You would think, coming off of that, I think that they could win by 10.
Like, that's brutal.
I think they could win by 10. And if they don't, then they'll lose. No, I don't know.
That's very likely. Yeah, if they don't cover, they're going to lose. And then the season just falls completely apart. It's either one or the two. So.
All right, 2 spectrums. All right, Tennessee opened 13.5 point favorites over Arkansas, and it's stayed that way all week.
Smash it.
Smash him.
Falls minus 13.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I'm riding with you. We're like rocking together.
We're rocking.
I would agree with you there. All right, last but not least, A&M opened 2.5 point favorites, dropped down to 2 point favorites.
Sorry. That might be my ESPN bet.
Where are we sitting on this one?
I'm going to go A&M -2. Like I said, I don't know. I haven't seen enough of Mizzou as the number 9 team in the country. I don't know if I trust them to win on the road in College Station. That's it. I'm taking the home team in this tight SEC game. A&M -2.
That's fair. I think Mizzou is slightly fraudulent. I think A&M is more fraudulent. So I'm actually going to pick Mizzou so we don't have
Okay.
an entire slate of identical picks. So, all right, that's going to
Cool with that.
wrap up our week 6 of the college football catch up. We will keep you updated on what happens Virginia Tech, Tennessee, and especially ETSU since that's where I'll be out at tomorrow. So make sure to tune in this weekend for coverage of all these games.